This edition of the Ridley Report was brought to you by the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance.
Dave Ridley here, signing in from the New Hampshire State House in Concord, New Hampshire, standing here with Pastor Garrett Lear, the Patriot pastor, who is here to observe proceedings that are going on at the New Hampshire State House. I want to talk to you a little bit about Real ID. You're a big Real ID opponent. And my question is, why is it that we're not seeing more churches, more religious involvement against this arguable mark of the beast system?
Well, I think that's a very good question. I'm glad you asked that. Of course, you know, even this little badge that I have here on my jacket today about liberty, it's really about liberty. And I believe that many of my brethren Christians, people in church, have not had the right teaching concerning, for example, and you said of the mark of the beast or whatever that is. And I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I know that it is prophesied in the Bible that it will happen. But even from a constitutional standpoint, many Christians don't seem to care too much about the Constitution or violations of our Bill of Rights. And so basically what we're having here is taking away of personal freedoms and liberties, and it's being said that this is a necessity because we need to be protected against terrorism. I don't see that how taking away the liberties of honest people protects us from dishonest people. We're not protected from terrorists because we're being confined. It's like saying, okay, let's put bars on the windows, we'll keep the burglars out. But in a fire, it keeps the people in the house in. So I believe that there's been erroneous teaching there, and I think many of the people within the church have been afraid that they can't say anything against the government. We're supposed to obey the government no matter what. And that's a type of statism. It's a type of idolatry, and I don't agree with that. It's certainly not biblical. The early New Testament church would never have agreed to that. And it's also not constitutional. Our founding fathers, of which I have descent in my blood, not just the way I dress today, but also that I am of that heritage, I know they wouldn't have approved of that.
What are your thoughts with regard to Governor Lynch's current situation in terms of how, I guess he sent a letter to the Department of Homeland Security. Have you read it? Do you have an opinion about him doing that?
I've never read the letter that he sent to Department of Homeland Security, but I believe that way back that he had pretty much promised the people of New Hampshire that we were not going to enter into the Real ID. And of course, all the discussions that have happened in the House and in the Senate over the financial implications of this bill, this is certainly not part of the persona of the state of New Hampshire, live free or die. Why do we need an internal passport? Why would we need something that can so easily, when we talk about identity theft and so forth, will be used in different parts of the world, can easily be co-opted? So I would expect that Governor Lynch should keep his original promise and not submit to the pressures of the federal government to comply when we, the people of New Hampshire, said, no, we don't want this. We're happy with we're happy with the driver's license we've got now.
Less unhappy.
We're less unhappy. There we go. That's a better way of putting it.
Well, now, it's changing the subject a little bit. Now, every time you come here, do you dress in colonial garb, or is it just on rare occasions?
Well, that's a good question. It's, I won't say rare occasions. Over, let's say, the last 20 years, probably quite a bit. But there's sometimes I come here wearing a suit and a patriotic tie or whatever. It just depends. But more often than not now I'm dressing this way because I want people to understand something. When they look at the U.S. Constitution and they look at the New Hampshire Constitution, for example, Article 10 of our New Hampshire Constitution, 1783. I mean, what was the mindset of those people in those days?
Article 10 is the right of revolution.
The right of revolution, which I tell people, that's a real provocative name for it. But read what it says there. It says what they believed what government was for, what government was not for, and what the position of the people were, and so forth and so on. And most people aren't familiar with that. So, in a sense, it's like being the conscience of our founders, dressing like this. I admire what they did, but they're not here. I am, and I am a direct descendant of them. So I want to come and speak on their behalf because I think what they gave us, in many respects, is better than what we're getting now.
All right, Garrett Lear, the Patriot pastor from New Hampshire. I remember which part of New Hampshire?
Wakefield.
Okay, thanks for coming out and helping to fight for our freedoms.
Well, thank you.
I don't know if you were aware of this or not, but there are some pretty scary things happening in this building, the State House in Concord, New Hampshire. Fortunately, there is the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. They're fighting back, but they need your help. They offer free training. They offer courses, ways that you can learn how to be most effective in fighting for liberty inside the State House. Visit nhliberty.org to find out when the next class is. If you take it, you'll be a much more effective voice at stopping these folks from taking away your liberty. nhliberty.org